The Miami Dolphins made yet another signing in NFL free agency, and this one, even though very minimal, should make Dolphins fans excited because I truly believe this is one of their best signings in NFL free agency. That being punter Ryan Stonehouse. We've talked in depth about how Miami, at least in my opinion, should be moving off of Jake Bailey and look to find a new punter because I don't think Bailey has done a good enough job for the Dolphins special teams unit over the past couple of seasons. And I think Ryan Stonehouse will completely flip the script in terms of how good this punt coverage team is performing. I absolutely love the signing of Ryan Stonehouse. This was someone who, as a rookie in 2022, was absolutely elite, was an all-pro. He was unbelievable, setting records for the Tennessee Titans back then. Now he joins his former special teams coordinator, Craig Aukerman, in Miami, who the Dolphins signed earlier this offseason. Those two should rejuvenate this Dolphins punt coverage team and make the Dolphins better on special teams after they were the 31st ranked special teams unit in the NFL last season. And this is going to be something we talk about a little bit later, but let me know how you think the Dolphins have done in free agency this far. Grade the Dolphins and Chris Grier, A, B, C, D, or F. And coming up in a little bit on today's show, I am actually going to go through my grades for the Miami Dolphins in free agency, kind of signing by signing, but also the overall of the Dolphins room, the players that they signed, as I'm having a hard time finding my words here. But first, I did want to talk more about Ryan Stonehouse, the newest Dolphin. He is going to be entering his fourth season in the league. Remember, he played in 2022, hurt in 2023 after a up and down start to that season, and then returned in 2024. But as I mentioned a little bit earlier, he set records for the Titans as a rookie in 2022. For example, he recorded an average of a 53.1 yards per punt in his rookie season, which is a new single-season NFL record. The record, previously set in 1940, lasted 82 seasons. He was also the punting yards leader, punting for 4,779 yards. He was named as on the all-rookie team and was a second-team all-pro as a rookie in 2022. And the initial reaction to having Stonehouse join this roster in free agency is, well, the current Dolphins punter, Jake Bailey, yeah, wave you goodbye. We've talked a lot about if Bailey should be cut or kept heading into the 2025 season. I have made the argument that he absolutely should be released, but this kind of move by Chris Grier confirms that. And you wonder how much influence Aukerman had in obviously getting Stonehouse into Miami after he was not tendered by the Tennessee Titans, making him an unrestricted free agent. He was a potential restricted free agent, so he became unrestricted. Miami scooped him up. But the reason why Bailey being cut makes so much sense is because he would save the Dolphins a decent chunk of change. David making the point here that the Dolphins would save $1.9 million toward the cap by cutting him. He has no guaranteed money this season. He had a $2.5 million cap hit. But if you release him, you only have to take into account $550,000 in dead money, which would save you that $1.975 million, which isn't a crazy amount, but he just simply wasn't good enough for the Dolphins last season. PFF graded him as a seventh highest punter. I don't know what they're watching because when you looked at his net punting yardage, how many times he was able to pin opponents inside the 20, and his yards per attempt, it just simply wasn't good. It was bottom half in the NFL last year. Now, he did have a good hang time average of 4.51 seconds, which was sixth in the NFL, but I truly do believe that Ryan Stonehouse will be a massive upgrade for the Miami Dolphins. I looked at his numbers in 2022. You saw it earlier as we showcased how he set records. Then he got hurt in 2023 and was working his way back in 2024. But Aukerman, the new special team coordinator for the Miami Dolphins, obviously liked working with Stonehouse. Stonehouse liked working with Aukerman, and now the two will join forces once again in Miami. And I would expect the Dolphins to cut Jake Bailey. I don't know when they're going to do it, but they would save $1.9 million. Pretty much a no-brainer if you're asking me. I don't think it'd be worth having a competition, so I absolutely am moving off of Jake Bailey, getting rid of him, and just rolling with Stonehouse. And this is why you subscribe to the channel, because we cover every piece of Dolphins news, whether Miami releases a player, whether they sign a punter. We will have you covered here on the channel. Hit that sub button. Let's get to 69K ASAP. All right, now I want to get into some Dolphins free agency grades, look at what Miami's done this offseason, and see what I think they have done in terms of being good or bad. We'll start with Zach Wilson, who was the first exterior signing from the Miami Dolphins, 1 year, $6 million deal, worth up to $10 million with incentives. But as I've always said, you hope that you don't have to pay out those incentives because Tua Tagovailoa is healthy and plays 17 games. I give this a grade of a B. I like the upside of Zach Wilson. I'll continue to say that. I know he was a failure in terms of his draft pick, number 2 overall from the Jets, bounced around to the Broncos, but he was well-liked in that locker room. He was solid. He got good high reviews from Dolphins reporters. I think Wilson is maturing. I think he has got a lot of upside with arm talent, his youthfulness. He will be under good coaching of Mike McDaniel and this very talented staff that Miami's putting together with Slowick, Bevel, Frank Smith. I think they can get the best out of Wilson, and I think this is a good backup QB for Miami in 2025. All right, we're going to get to some of the other guys here in just a second, but we are sponsored by PrizePicks, the #1 daily fantasy sports platform out there. I play PrizePicks every single day, and hopefully you join me because all you got to do is pick more or less on 2 or more player stat projections for a chance to win up to 1,000 times your money right now. And when you win on PrizePicks, withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, your picks hit, you can get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. They have weekly promotions that lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. They also have special deals like Flex Friday, where you can get a protected play. You can play daily, you can play season, and with baseball starting in a week, I've got a season-long entry. More than Paul Skeens, 215.5 strikeouts, more than Tarek Skubal, 204.5 strikeouts, and then more than Jarren Duran, 17.5 home runs. Just one example of how you can play across different sports leagues, season-long, daily, it doesn't matter. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. One more time. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. All right, the next signing we'll talk about here is James Daniels, and this is the highest grade you'll see me give out on today's show, but there is one more signing that also has the same grade, A-. Gave Daniels a 3-year, $24 million deal. I just love Daniels' fit. I know he's coming off of a torn Achilles, but having him under contract for a $4 million cap hit in 2025 is amazing. He is not someone that will be crazy expensive over the next 2 seasons if he works out and you keep him. If you want to move off of him because he didn't work out, it's not like you're stuck to that contract. He was one of the best run blockers in 2024 before tearing that Achilles. He is agile, athletic. He fits this system perfectly. I am very happy that James Daniels is the starting right guard for the Miami Dolphins. Another offensive lineman signed, Larry Borom. He got a 1-year, $2.5 million deal, which is a little bit more money than I anticipated, but I don't think he is anticipated to be a starter. I think he is your Kendall Lamb replacement in terms of being that swing tackle. Borom has played right tackle, played left tackle. He is not a good tackle in my opinion, which is why I think Miami could almost use him as a Swiss Army knife, almost like an Isaiah Wynn guy as well off that bench, that depth piece. If players get injured, he could play guard, he could play tackle. I think Miami envisions him moving inside and potentially working out. So that is certainly something I'm keeping an eye on. Larry Borom, I give it a C. Nothing crazy, just a depth piece. All right, out of all the Dolphins out of the players that the Dolphins signed, which one was your favorite? Let me know down in the comment section which player that the Dolphins signed was your favorite move. Kick it over to safeties because Miami signed 2 of them, Ifeatu Melifonwu and Ashton Davis. I give Melifonwu a B- and Davis a C+. Davis got a 1-year, $2.5 million deal. Both these guys will be competing for that safety 2, safety 3 spot on the Dolphins depth chart. I don't think that they should be expected to be your tandem next year. I hope that's not the case. But Melifonwu, when he stays healthy, is a really good ball hawking guy, cover safety. And Ashton Davis Davis actually does have pretty good roaming abilities as a free safety. I am a little skeptical of those two ability to play in the run game and come up and make tackles, as we know that was an issue with Javon Holland last year, which is why I think the Dolphins absolutely still need to add a safety, whether you want to do it in NFL free agency with a guy like Justin Simmons or Julian Blackmon, who are still out there at the time of filming this, or if you need to do it in the draft, which is something that I would probably look towards, whether you go with Jahdae Barron from Texas, Nick Emanwori from South Carolina, or Malachi Starks out of Georgia with the first pick you have in the draft, or you wait to the second round and go with an Xavier Watts from Notre Dame. Either way, I think safety needs to be addressed in the first 2 or 3 rounds of this draft. There's some good players that you can potentially find in the third round as well, whether it's Jonas Sanker from Virginia, Kevin Winston from Penn State, Sebastian Castro from Iowa, Andrew Makuba from Texas. There are good safeties in this class, and Miami should absolutely be in the market for that in late April. All right, a 2-year, $6.2 million deal for Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, the wide receiver from Tennessee, something that I am very excited about. 6'2", 211 pounds, had 9 touchdowns last season. We know Miami wanted to add a physical wide receiver on the outside to help this room that had very small wide receivers, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Malik Washington. Westbrook-Ikhine will come in and fill that void. I give this one A-. I think this is just on par with James Daniels. When you account for the need Miami had at this position, as well as what he will bring to the table, he is an excellent run blocker. So that's something Miami will utilize quite a bit, putting him in motion, getting him on safeties, getting him on corners when they're running towards him. I really like Westbrook-Ikhine to be a red zone target for Miami, an X-wide receiver, and one of the best blocking wide receivers on this roster. I think you guys will be stunned by how much Westbrook-Ikhine plays for this Dolphins football team in 2025. Couple linebackers signed by Miami, Tyrell Dodson and KJ Britt. Dodson coming back, I'll give that a B+, 2 years, $8.2 million deal. I like the way Dodson finished the season for the Dolphins when he started next to Jordan Brooks after Anthony Walker Jr. got hurt. I like Dodson coming back. Sounded like he wanted more money than he got, but it also sounded like Miami offered him a little bit less at initial price point, and then they came in and met in the middle. I'm glad Dodson is back for Miami. And then KJ Britt coming over from Tampa. C+, nothing crazy. Good linebacker 3. Struggles in coverage, but he is going to be an excellent addition to stop the run. When the Dolphins are back against their walls, inside the 10, inside the 5, when you need to get physical, get downhill, and plug those gaps along the offensive line when they're trying to run it down your throat to get in the end zone, Brett, excellent downhill, physical linebacker. He will be helpful in run-stopping packages. Then the Dolphins went out and signed a running back, Alexander Mattison, the 7th-year man out of Boise State, yet he's only 26 years old. He's been in the league for quite a while. 5'11", 220, so this is your RB3/short yardage back. I give it a C. Now, there's some mixed reviews on Alexander Mattison. He has really struggled inside the 5-yard line over the past 2 seasons. He had, I believe, 17 carries for a -9 yards. Yeah, inside the 5-yard line with 4 touchdowns, but he's converted a ton of 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 opportunities in the middle of the field. So Miami needed something there, but I would not expect Mattison to be a useful goal line back because he just simply hasn't been that over the past couple of years, but he does have good drive on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 when you could spread the field a little bit more in the middle of the field. I give Eichenberg an absolute F. I don't think any Dolphins fan wanted him to come back. He was terrible last year. He's been an absolute bust after being a top 50 selection 4 years ago. Him being back, honestly, is so disappointing for me. I just hate that Chris Grier can't quit Liam Eichenberg. We don't have the financials yet for him, and I'll be intrigued to see what that ultimately is. I like Pharaoh Brown being that tight end 2/tight end 3. He's an excellent blocking tight end. I think he's more consistent than Durham Smythe in both of those areas, receiving and blocking. And I think he's a better receiver than Julian Hill, so I like Brown to be in this tight end group. I love the Stonehouse edition that we broke down earlier today. And then re-signing both Quinn Bell and Elijah Campbell, I give it a B-. 2 good depth pieces for the Dolphins that played well last season in their limited opportunities on special teams and as depth pieces, so I give those 2 B-. So at least as we currently stand in Dolphins free agency, my current grade for Miami is a C+. There has been a lot of things I wish Miami did on the offensive line. I think there are some contracts out there that I would have liked the Dolphins to go out and give, whether it be a Mekhi Becton, $10 million per season, or whether it be a Zeitler, I think there's players that Miami missed and could have gotten. I also think there's players like Jeremy Chin who got a 2-year, $16 million deal I would have loved to give out. There's some contracts that were really expensive that I'm glad Miami ultimately didn't do. I think they did good for bargain shopping, but there just isn't a marquee guy outside of James Daniels where you can just write home about and say, yeah, this offseason is awesome. There's still so many needs at corner, defensive line, left guard, a true number one safety. Like, there's a lot of things Miami still has to do this offseason on this roster, which is why, at least as of right now, I give it a C+. All right, make sure you hit that sub button because we are going to continue to break down Dolphins football on a daily basis. Make sure you join the channel, and if you're still watching, you clearly like what we're doing, so join right now.